Peggy 12.
キザル、俺たちは2年前の100倍強えぞ。グラピストラゴムゴムのドーンロケット。おりゃ、そうだ、楽しくなってきた。なめんなよ。ゴムゴムのスターワンピースバウンティーラッシュ。
Gang, yo gang. Today we'll be discussing the upcoming Gear 5 V2 and how we could possibly counter it. Now, as we may already know, Gear 5 V2 is gonna be straight up busted and people may want to know counters. Now, this is Luffy, Gum Giant's traits. He has the regular old traits of giants, like unable to reach certain places, unable to do certain things like dodge, etc, etc. Now to discuss Gear 5 V2's giant form, skill 2. His skill 2 deals a long range area attack with a knockback effect, damage dealt will disregard, damage reduction, meaning that units like a Green Bull are going to get immediately destroyed. Green Bull is unusable in the upcoming meta. Retire your Green Bull. Attack ignores obstacles as well, so he can just attack you through a wall. You wouldn't even have the chance to dodge. Become temporarily invincible after use. Now, Green Bulls may be able to dodge if they hear Gear 5 say anything, because Bandai typically makes them pretty loud. Now for his skill 1, Freeform Spirit. Deals a mid-range area attack while the skill button is held down, reduces damage taken and reduces chance of getting pushed away when attacked by enemy while the skill is active. Meaning that units like Kobe might be able to do something with his Honesty Impact, but he is completely unable to attack him from the front. If he does that, he will get knocked down before his skill 1 actually works. He has to attack him from behind while he's using the skill. And for Gear 5 fans out there that are planning to use him, do not, I repeat, do not hold down the skill if you know something like Dory, Garp, or Kobe's hanging around. They will slaughter you. It also deals a long range area attack after a certain period of time, or when the skill button is released, you are able to move while holding down the skill button. Now to discuss Gum Star Gun, which is the regular Luffy's skill 2. It deals a long range area attack with a chance to stun, knocks enemies back if stun couldn't be applied. Damage dealt will disregard damage reduction and ignores obstacles as well. Green Bull, I'm so sorry bro, you're getting retired. Become temporarily invincible after use and increases damage to Navy type characters. Green Bull, Fujitora, you're getting retired. It's time to pack it up, bro. Pack it up. Akainu as well, if he hits him with like 3 skills or 3 M1s, Akainu is done, bro. It's done. Plus he stuns him. There's nothing Akainu can do about it. Now for regular Luffy skill 1, Gum Dawn Rocket, which has a 33-second skill cooldown at level 5. Begin charging by holding down the skill button. Reduces damage taken and reduces chance of getting pushed away when attacked by enemy while the skill is active. Nullifies stagger for a set period of time. This skill cannot be used in certain areas, meaning you cannot use it where there are obstacles overhead, like in the Wano stage or in the Thriller Bark stage. There is a cooldown in effect for a set period of time at the start of battle to prevent people random ass gear, stray gear 5 flying into your treasure and destroying you before the match even starts. That would be a pain in the ass, to be honest, unless there's a Garp on your team, or maybe even a Kobe. When the enemy has a treasure area, if you let go of the skill button before the charge is completed, the charge will cancel and you will move. If the charge has finished, you will move to a different area. If you tap it or you don't fully charge it, you're going to go to the closest treasure. If you hold it and charge it fully, you're going to go to the farthest treasure. When the enemy has no treasure area, your charging will be interrupted and you will deal a mid-range area attack after a certain amount of time has passed, or after letting go of the skill button. You deal an attack upon landing your skill each time. Now for Luffy's regular traits. It says when your HP is 50% or more, increase capture speed by 50% and remove status effects and nullify status effects inflicted by enemy. Personally, I'm a big fan of this trait. It's on Gear 5 V1 as well, so he cannot be destroyed by Lucci like most people tend to say. He's not getting wrecked by Lucci because Lucci cannot apply the Clawed effect to block him from using his hold skills. And basically his M1. He would basically be left with only his attacking skills of whichever form he's in. Like Yace. That is not gonna work. Lucci fans, I'm sorry bro. Unless you use skill 1 to take down his HP, it's not gonna work. While you are capturing treasure, resist stagger and being downed. When respawned, increase the cooldown time of skill 1 by 50%, increases speed by 30% for 10 seconds, cannot stack. Trait 2. When your HP is 30% or more, reduce damage received by 30%. 1 HP will be left even if KO'd by enemy. Ineffective if HP is exactly 1. When attacked by an enemy skill, reduce damage received by 50%, recover HP by 5%. Meaning that he will survive Garb's blue hole easily with around 1000 HP, say he has around 20k HP. After receiving damage from an enemy which is less than or equal to 20% of your max HP, resist stagger. Boost rate max when hit with a knockback by enemy, reduce the cooldown time of skill 2 by 20%, making it easy for him to just hit you with his skill 2. Greatly increases team's attack while team boost is active. I was expecting a speed boost, but I guess that works. Now for the Gum Gum Giant traits. Gum Gum Giant traits can ignore the enemy and capture treasure. Damage received from enemies is based on your attack rather than your defense. Disregards ignore defense. Ignore defense, any characters with that trait, it just will not work. Meaning that Kobe's skill 1 won't work properly if he uses it. It's just not gonna work. When you start capturing the enemy's treasure, transform the treasure area where you're at into the Gum Gum treasure area. You're gonna be able to easily stun defenders that can't ignore status effects like Zephyr, as seen in the trailer. And it deals around 200 damage with a chance to inflict tremor short for 3 seconds. The rubber treasure transformation will disappear after you capture treasure, when interrupted while capturing treasure, or after you're KO'd. The traditional thing. Big character traits. When performing a perfect guard, deals mid-range area attack that inflicts stagger. When performing a perfect guard, recover HP by 30% and reduce the cooldown time of guard by 100%. He's better than Dory and Broggy because they do not reduce the cooldown time of guard by 100%. It's only around 50%. Unfortunately for you Kizaru mains, you're gonna have to retire your Kizarus because based on all of these traits, he basically reduces all of your attack and defense stacks, and he just takes away everything from you. When you spam his perfect guard, you are so cooked. Kizaru is getting retired next meta. Just retire him. Now Luffy's normal abilities and traits. Normal traits can capture the treasure area from a certain area outside the treasure area, meaning that he can just fly into the middle of the map and just grab a treasure immediately without worrying about anybody. When you capture the treasure, recover 30% of HP, reduce the cooldown time of skill 1 by 20%. Pretty broken. It's the third hit of a normal attack combo deals damage at the enemy's feet. So it's gonna be pretty hard for Kizaru to actually dodge that for some odd reason. I'm not sure it works, but hey, it is what it is. Luffy's abilities and traits. The regular Luffy again. Oh, and by the way, you have to hold your normal attack button like Lucci or Claw or Yace for it to actually transform you into Gum Gum Giant. Now the character trait. Nullify shock and then trance, recover 50% of percentage damage received from an enemy. Half of the gear The Luffys actually have this base trait for some odd reason. I don't know why. I understand nullify, shock, and entrance, but not recover 50% of percentage damage. After holding down the normal attack button during the first hit of a normal attack combo and the second hit of the attack changes, the character either transforms into or out of the Gum Gum Giant form. As I explained before, just hold down the skill for you to be transformed. When changing into the Gum Gum Giant form, increase attack by 30% for 20 seconds, cannot stack. This character cannot change into Gum Gum Giant form in areas that big characters cannot enter. Do not try and go into places that have things overhead. It just won't work. When attacked by a character type Navy enemy, remove the enemy's attack increase. Reduce the cooldown time of skill 2 by 5%. Kizaru's, again, I'll say it again, bro. You are cooked. You're getting retired. I'm sorry, it's just not going to work. Resist stagger being down and not back for a set period of time after skill 1 is used. Remove status effects and nullify status effects inflicted by enemy. Tough. He cannot be really affected by Lucci and so on. I'm sorry, Kizaru players. I prayed on your downfall. It's here now. You are cooked. You're not doing anything to Gear 5, even with Team Boost. Kizaru is just not gonna do crap. Lucci is just really dependent on if Gear 5 is low. If he's low, Gear 5 is cooked. He's gonna be easily killed by Lucci. But Kizaru, based on all these traits, he's gonna be able to spam his skill 2 on you, reduce like 90% of the damage you do, and he's gonna heal from any damage that you actually manage to do with your skill. So only M1s would even be viable, or maybe your skill 2, but still, you are not killing Gear 5. Gear 5 is just gonna dip after you fail to kill him. I'm sorry, and I'm very glad that Lucci, maybe even definitely Kizaru, is getting written out of the meta. Well, not actually. I kind of hate the fact that Lucci is going out, because if I don't get Gear 5 V2, I'm not gonna have a unit to use, because I currently run Lucci and Kuzone actually. Now to actually discuss the potential counters for Gear 5 V2. Now there's only 3 real counters. Do not use Pacifista, because Pacifista banks on knockback and his attack and defense increases, which Gear 5 completely benefits from. Pacifista is not going to work. Gonfall is just not viable in the meta. Defender Broggy could probably work, but he's going to get shredded by a Kizaru if there's any Kizarus in the game. And lastly, but not least, would be that mid-ass unit Atlas. Atlas ain't doing shit. Granted, she would probably destroy Gear 5 if she could land her skill 2, but... Or was it skill 1 or skill 2? The skill that basically makes her wind up her arm. Well, if we're being so for real, that ain't hitting us so. Now for the actual counters. Garp. Garp, I'm going to rank at 3rd. Garp is the worst of the 3 that I'm going to recommend. Reason being, he gets all of his stacks taken, and Luffy heals like 5% by like 5% after getting hit by a blue hole. So you would have to M1 him after hitting him with a blue hole. But by the time you'll be able to do that, Gear 5 is just going to run away, or use his skill 1 to disappear. Garp, he can definitely easily kill Gear 5, but Gear 5 is going to run away. And as a Gear 5 player, I would not fight Garp head on. He can probably kill him, but it's not going to work out for you. 7 times out of 10, you're going to lose to a Garp. The second best unit would definitely be Kobe. But Kobe won't do as much damage as he would end up needing, due to the fact that his skill 1, which he heavily banks on, Honesty Impact, won't work properly on Gum Gum Giant, because it does not ignore the defense that he actually needs. As you can see during the trait, ignore defense, and as I mentioned before, Luffy does not depend on defense when in the giant form, it depends on attack. So yeah, but due to the fact that his skill 1 still does a shitload of damage to runners, plus the additional damage based on the elemental advantages, he still will most likely one-shot a Gear 5. So Kobe is definitely the second best unit in the upcoming update. As a counter, of course, especially considering the fact that he ignores the 1 HP trait. The next best unit would definitely have to be Dory. You could also use Broggy as a replacement, but Broggy's trait mainly works on the flag, and Dory can stay away from the flag while destroying Gear 5s. But the problem with Broggy is, Broggy would definitely be better than Dory when it comes to fighting Gear 5, but there's a small, tiny, minuscule issue of him getting destroyed by Kizaru on the flag. So use Dory instead. I would not recommend Broggy unless for some odd reason Kizaru stopped being used. But I don't believe they will be written out of the meta, because you can just use Gear 5 and Kizaru. But based on his traits, he ignores damage reduction, and he also gets added attack and ignores the 1 HP trait. His skill 1 will absolutely, undoubtedly shred Gear 5. Strike of the Blue will destroy Gear 5, plus reducing his HP if he somehow survives that attack. But that's really it. That's really it about the counters. Enjoy Gear 5 hunting. But personally, I'm going to enjoy this meta because Kizaru, you will not be missed. Peace, gang. I'm out.